So before going for these things, before specifying or before activating the content from author instance to the publish instance, first we need to create the pages. Okay, so to create the pages, we need to have an project. So in this session, we'll see how to create an AEM project and how to deploy that into the AEM instance. Okay, so from tomorrow onwards, we can start working on that AEM project. So building multiple things like pages and then components, templates, backend modules, so whatever the possible concepts which we want to discuss, so all the things we can discuss, we can include that inside the project, and then we can build a web page at least by this of this end. Okay. So now in this session, we'll see how to create an Maven project using AEM. So AEM uses this Maven project. So Apache Maven is a framework. So where it provides a standardized folder structure. Because AEM is a multi-modular unit. So you'll not have only one or two folders or one project folder. Okay, so it contains a lot of modules in between them in order to create multiple modules. Okay, if I go for a project, I'll show you another project. Okay, suppose if I go inside this project, AEM Guides Weekend is my project I'm having here. So inside this project, I'm having a lot of modules. So all core, dispatcher. So whenever you want to generate a project using Maven, so AEM every case uses this Maven project because it generates this standardized folder structure where we can easily manage multiple things. Okay, so all the backend parts, front end parts like pages, templates, all these things we can easily manage inside this particular folders, and it is easy to deploy as well. So whatever the deployment life cycle we need to follow, so this deployment life cycle is also very fast when you are going for the Maven project. So now in order to create this project, we have one command. So with the help of that command, we can easily create a Maven project, and then we can deploy that project into the AEM instance. Okay, so how to create this project? So you can create this project using the Maven command. So you can just go to the Adobe page, and then you can just get the Maven command. So you can just search for okay, so just search for Maven command to create an AEM project. So you can go for Adobe Experience link, and inside this Experience link you will find the command. So this is the command we are having. So this command we have to generate the project. So with this command we have to generate the project. So just copy this command and then paste that in your notepad. Okay, because you can't execute this command directly. Why? Because your command prompt does not allow to write multiple lines. You have to write them in a single line. But now this is a multiple line code or multiple line structure we are having to generate the project. So we have to make that into an single line. So we have to make some changes to this ID, or we have to make some changes to this project so that it will generate the project. So before generating the project, what we are running, so this is a Maven command. So every time you see MVN, so that means it is an Maven command. So short form of Maven is MVN. So in order to run this Maven command, first you need to install Maven in your system. Okay. So without Maven, you cannot run this command. So just check your command prompts. So whether the Maven has been, check your system variables, whether you have installed Maven or not. So just use MVN clean install, sorry, uh, MVN double hyphen version. Okay, so now it says Apache Maven 3.8.8. So whatever the current AEM version we are using, so this current AEM version supports Maven 3.8.8. Okay, so you have to use the same Maven version. So 3.8 should be the same. So 8 can be X. So it can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 8 can be X. 3.8.x version you should use. So if you are downloading as well, so you have to download the Apache Maven 3.8.8. Okay, so I have whatever the software I've shared you, in that software for Windows, I've shared you the Maven file as well. You can download from there. Okay, so once you have downloaded, so just create a folder and set the runtime environment how you did for Java. Okay, so create a folder Maven and place your zip file there and try to unzip it. So then you will get this product. Okay, so then you'll get the Maven software in your local. Okay, so in order to run this Maven software, we have to set the runtime environment for it. Okay, so just copy this command. So copy the path of the Maven and go to your environment variables and try to set the runtime environment for the Maven. Okay, system variables and then go to environment variables. So system variables, edit system environment. Okay, so environment variables, and inside this environment variables, first go inside this path variable. Okay, so inside the path variable, click on new and then paste your Maven path. Whatever the path you have selected, so you have to paste your Maven path. So you have to select until bin. Okay, so select until the bin folder and paste the path. So C users, OneDrive desktop, Apache Maven, and then you are including bin at the last. So bin should be compulsory because bin contains the binary data to run this command in to run the software in your local. Okay, so once you just click on OK and then create one more variable inside an system variables. Okay, so create a Maven home variable and just name it as a Maven underscore home and paste the same path again, but this time you should not include bin at the end. Okay, so just remove the bin at the end. So you have to make changes at two places. One is in the environment variables, in the system variables, go to path variable and place your Maven path with bin. And second place, you have to create a home variable underscore Maven underscore home and place the path without bin. Okay. So once you have got this one, so just click on OK and save your changes. So once you save the changes, try to go there and check whether Maven runtime has been set or not. So you can go there and you can run this command, that is mvn double hyphen version. So when you use mvn double hyphen version, so it should use Maven 3.8.8 with Java 11 runtime. Okay. So you can see the runtime here. So JDK 11 is the runtime. Okay. So runtime also should be JDK 11 only. Previously, we have configured the JDK 11, so that wouldn't be a problem. It will automatically take. Okay, so JDK 11 and Maven Apache Maven 3.8.8. So now once you have this Apache runtime environment in your system, so then only you can execute this command. So any Maven command, not only this command, if you want to execute any Maven command, so at that case you need to have this. But at that case you need to have the Maven runtime environment in your system. Okay, so here we are having a lot of things. So a lot of a big command is there, right? So we have to understand what is the different uses of this command. Okay, so first one is minus D AEM version. Okay, so this minus D AEM version, what it specifies, so you have to specify your version of AEM. Okay, so which version of AEM you are using. So if currently it says cloud because the latest version of AEM is cloud, and currently this command says a cloud version. But if you want to check which version of AEM you are using, so just go to the start.html and here we are having an option of help. Go inside this help and then about and then try to search your version. So Adobe Experience Manager 6.5.0. So what it says in the command? It says the cloud, right? So change it from cloud to 6.5.0 and then make that into a single line. Okay, so minus D version 0.0.1 snapshot. So this D version 0.1 snapshot is nothing but initial version of your package. So whatever the project you are generating, initial version of the project should be 0.0.1 snapshot. Suppose if you want to get a 1.0 version, so change it from 0.0.1 to 1.0. Okay, so initial version with the this version ID, the project will be generated in the AEM 6.5.01. Okay, so after that minus DAM version, right? So change and then make that into a single line. So every time you are making, so remove the slash at the end. Okay. So after that, D package. So this D package is not required. So just try to ignore this D package ID. And then we are having artifact ID. So this with the help of this artifact ID, it will generate the project. Okay. So artifact ID is nothing but the folder which initially a lot of files are there, right? A lot of folders are there. So with the help of this AEM guides, we can so a folder will be generated in your local so that will be deployed into the AEM instance. So all the small folders like core apps and then your app structure, all folders we have seen inside this project, right? So if you want to get these folders, so that will be stored inside this AEM artifact ID. Okay. And then group ID. So this group ID is nothing but your Java package names. So in the backend, you have to write a lot of Java modules. Okay, so you'll be developing a lot of Java stuff. So whatever the Java packages are there, so if you want this with the help of this group ID, all the Java packages will be generated. So usually that would be uh, com dot project name dot company name, it would be this. So instead of com dot Adobe, you can name it as such. So com dot search dot AEM guides dot whatever your project name, you can specify the project name. So September is my project name, so I'll specify as September. So same AEM guides, instead of weekend, I'll specify as September. AEM guide September is my project name. And then app ID. So app ID is the one which will create the project inside the CRXD. So whatever the app ID you are specifying, either September or November, or maybe a meaningful app ID. Okay, so maybe an project like any project you are specifying, so search website. So based on this app ID, the folders will be created inside the CRXD. That means inside the storage, the folders will be created with the help of this app ID. And then our app title is nothing but display name of your title. Display name of your project is nothing but the app title. Okay. So after that, we are having archetype version. So from here, archetype version is nothing but, so this is one template. Okay. So Maven, we are going for this Maven command, right? So basically, simply think that this is a template which will generate the project. Okay. So this template has been predefined by the Apache Maven so that it will generate the AEM projects. Okay. So when you are going for this archetype 39, so that means with the help of archetype 39, it will generate one type of project. Okay, so if I'm specifying different archetype, so it will support different version of the project. So archetype version generates the different folders in a different manner according to the current system, according to the current Maven, according to the current AEM instance you are using. So either 6.5 or either cloud. So if you are generating the project, so there are some standard versions which we have to specify. So right now it says 39. Why? Because it is a cloud version. Initially the command was cloud, right? So for the cloud version, you can use 39, 40, and 41 are the archetype versions to generate and project for the cloud version. But which version you are using? We are using 6.5.0. So if you want to generate the project for 6.5, so at that case, archetype version you can use is 24, 25, and 26. So these three are the archetype versions you can use: 24, 25, and 26. So change it from archetype 39 to 26. So I can use any of these three: 24, 25, and 26. Okay. So AEM hyphen project hyphen archetype. So which is nothing but archetype artifact ID. So what does it mean by the artifact ID? So I've said, right. So this is a template, and AEM is specifying to the Apache Maven. So use this template so that it will generate the standard folder structure with this archetype command. Okay, so archetype version 26. So use this 26 version with this archetype template, archetype AEM project template, so that whatever the folders that are there, so those folders will be generated statically. Okay, so archetype artifact ID is nothing but a template which is given by the Adobe to generate the project. And then you should not change anything from here. So last you can change is archetype version only you can change. So above three you should not change anything, either archetype artifact ID or archetype group ID. Okay, and then 3.2.1 generate. So this is the Maven plugin which will generate the Maven project in the 3.2.1 plugin. So 3.2.1 is there, 3.2.2 is also available. So you can just go for 3.2.1. Okay, so now just whatever the command we have, so this command in a single line, right? So just copy this command, and once you copy this command, so it will initially when you are creating the project, so first time you have set up the Maven, right? So it will download a lot of dependencies from the Maven repository. So central Maven repository is there, which is a remote repository. So from that remote repository, it will try to load a lot of content in your system. It will try to download a lot of metadata to run the Maven commands in your local. Okay, so that's why you have to give the permission to download from the remote repository. So at that case, you have to run your command prompt in administrator mode. So if you are using a Mac, at that time you have to run your command in the command prompt or terminal in the sudo mode. Okay, so just go to the search and then go to the command prompt and try to open the command prompt in the administrator mode. So just search for it. So then you'll have an option as run as administrator. Okay, so go as run as administrator, and inside this run as administrator, so just change the directory to where you want to generate the project. So right now it says C Windows System 32. Okay, but I want to generate the project inside my D drive. Okay, so inside my D drive, I want to generate the project. So in order to generate the projects inside the D drive, so at that case you have to change the directory to this D drive. Okay, so here I want to generate the project. So we have to change the directory to here. So we just use CD. Okay, so change the directory. So change the directory to the D drive, and once you change the directory to the D drive, so whatever the command you are having, so just use that command to generate the project. Now go there and try to generate the project. For you, it might take some time because so initially it will download a lot of dependencies, right? So it might take some time. So suppose if you are seeing any Groovy error, okay, so if any error comes, build failure, so at that time try to check what error or what warnings it is trying to throw. Okay, so if somewhere it says so Groovy all is loaded in 2.4.16 and you are trying to load in 2.4.8. So if you see this type of error, so at that time you have to change the Groovy version. So initially the Maven, when you are downloading Groovy version, latest is 2.4.16. But according to your AEM archetype, we have to use the Groovy version 2.4.8. So initially this error might raise to you. So if you are getting initially build failure, so at this case, try to resolve that particular error. Okay, so how you can resolve? So once you have generated this project, so automatically in your C drive, a lot of dependencies of Maven will be there. Okay, so go to C drive and then users, C users, and then your user, and then here go to Apache. Okay, so C users M2. Okay, so M2 is the Maven 2, and then repository org, and then go to Apache. So follow this path, Apache, and then Maven, and inside the Maven archetype common, and 3.2.1, right? We have generated the project. So 3.2.1, and then go inside this archetype common POM file. Okay. So just try to right click on this. So POM files are nothing but it will have a lot of it will control a lot of dependencies with the help of a POM file. So right click on it and then edit with any VS Code or Notepad or anything you can edit. So once you click on edit of this folder, so try to search for Groovy. Okay, so if it is throwing a Groovy error, okay, so now it says Groovy all is loaded. So just search for Groovy and it gives the version of the Groovy. So right now for me it is in 2.4.8 only. So that's why the build was success. Okay, if you are trying to generate, so you generate in it will be generated as 2.4.16. So if you see the Groovy error, so change the Groovy version from 2.4.16 to 2.4.8. Okay, so that should be your Groovy version. So once it is done, so again, you have to delete the previous file. So whatever the error file that has generated, so delete the previous file. Right now, if I go, whether it is a build failure or whether it is a build success, so automatically it will generate the file. Okay. So if you are trying to generate again the same file, so at that time it will be not possible. Okay. So you have to delete the previous file, and once you delete the previous file only, you can generate the new one. Okay. So once you have deleted the previous file, so just run the same command again. Okay. Now you'll see the build success. So whatever the project we have created, so this project you have created in your local only. Okay. So AEM guide September is something which you have created in your local. That means in your own system you have created. Okay, so AEM does not have any knowledge that this project exists. Okay, so from here, now we have to use some more command to deploy this into the AEM instance. Because if I go inside this AEM instance, I can't see any project. Why? Because we have to deploy the project inside this instance. Inside the local server, you have to deploy the project. So in order to deploy the project into your local server, so we have three commands to deploy. So first one, we are having mvn clean install minus p auto install single package, mvn clean install minus p auto install bundle, and mvn clean install minus p auto install package. So when you are using any of these commands, so it will deploy the project into the AEM instance. Okay. So in which cases I want to use these commands? So here, if you observe, I'm having a lot of folder cities generated inside this AEM guide September. So all core, dispatcher, and then so core all is nothing but your system configurations, your AEM, all runtime data will be inside this all folder. And if you want to write any backend Java classes, all the Java classes will go inside this core module. So dispatcher, you know dispatcher, right? All the dispatcher level catchy tools. So dispatcher rewrite rules if you want to write anything. So at that time inside this dispatcher folder we can write. And then after that we are having UI apps, your components or like HTML files, CSS files. So all these things will be inside the UI apps folder. If you are creating any configurations, like we said before, we can send the dynamic data into the backend module. So if you are managing any dynamic data into your backend module, so at that cases inside the UI.config folder you can manage those things. Okay, so UI content, if you are creating any pages like assets or pages, whatever the things you are having, so templates. So if you want to store them, so then inside this UI content folder, you can do that. So how these all folders will be executed? So with the help of Maven, the dependency management is simple. So we have a lot of dependencies to build a project. So if I go for a backend OSG, as I said before, so a lot of predefined things are there. So all these predefined things, you can manage them with the help of dependencies. So all these dependencies will be provided inside this form.xml files. Okay, so inside this form.xml files, a lot of dependency will be there. So with the help of the Maven project, whatever the dependencies we are having, we can manage all the dependencies in a single place with the help of form.xml files. So that's why we'll be going for the Maven project. And then deployment is also very easy. Deployment lifecycle also, with the help of these commands, we can easily deploy the project into the AEM instance. So when we want to go for -p auto install single package. So if you want to deploy all these modules at the same time, all core, dispatcher, UI apps, UI content, config, if you want to deploy all these files together at the same point, so then you have to go for MVN clean install -p auto install single package. If you want to deploy only the backend modules, so then you have to go for MVN clean install -p auto install bundle. So if you want to deploy the individual front-end modules, so at that case you have to go for MVN clean install -p auto install package. So these are the three commands you are having to deploy the project into the AEM instance. So once the project is generated, so just I want to deploy all the modules at the same time, so then I'll go for the first command. So that is mbn clean install -p auto install single package. So now just go inside the project where it has generated and change the directory. Okay, so whenever you are using the command, so it will execute this pom.xml file. So this pom.xml file will be executed. So where this pom.xml file is there, so inside AEM guide September, right? So you have to change the directory so that this pom.xml file will be accessed. So just change the directory and then use the Maven command. So mvn clean install -P auto capital I install single capital S package capital P. Okay, so you have to use the same command. The structure of the command should be same. So otherwise you can't deploy it. So mvn clean install -P auto install single package. Okay, so now it says in the UI app, it shows a failure. Okay, Marvel code. Okay, so you are inside the Marvel code, but Marvel is not the project we are generating, right? So just don't use the Marvel. What is the project we have generated? Guide September, right? The project we have generated. So change the directory to Guide September. Okay, so AEM Guide September. In that folder only have multiple projects, right? So that's why that is an issue. Okay, so mvn clean install -p auto install single package. Change the directory to the guide. Okay, so this is an issue in the UI front-end module. Okay, so you have to delete these files. The .ds files will be throwing an issue, so TypeScript issue, uh, because of the different version matchings. So it will generate an different TypeScript. Okay, so we'll be not using the front end modules at all, because in case if you are going for a single page applications, so in the single page applications we will be going for the front end modules. So otherwise the front end modules is not required. So just try to comment this front end modules and deploy. So go to the main pom.xml file and try to go inside this pom.xml file, because internally when you are running, so it will run all the modules here. So here all the modules are mentioned here, right? So this mentioned modules will be deployed. So just try to comment this UI front end module. So or else you can get this one. Okay, so now you have to comment this UI front end module. So once you have commented this UI front end module, so go to UI apps and open the pom.xml file of the UI apps folder. Okay, so anything you can edit with anyone. Okay, so inside UI apps, so search inside UI apps, search for UI dot frontend. Okay, so inside this UI dot frontend, so try to comment this dependency aspect. Okay, so try to comment this dependency and save the changes. Okay, so once you save the changes, again go back and use the same command to deploy the project again. That is ambient clean install minus p auto install single package. Okay, so now it has been deployed successfully. Now it says build is successful. So now we have to check whether all the modules have been installed in the AEM or not. So where it will store the content. So any content inside AEM where it will store in the CRXT, right? So go to the CRXT and try to check in the apps folder. So if you are building any custom projects, so all the projects would be available in the apps folder. Okay, so inside the apps folder, check whether your project is available or not. So inside the apps folder, we have given us AEM guide September, right? So somewhere the project will be there. Just try to refresh this one. We can it is deployed. Okay, so once it is deployed, so if the project is not available here, so just go inside the package manager because we are deploying in the form of a single package, right? So here we have a tool called package manager and go inside this package manager and check whether all the packages are in the deployed state or not. Okay, so as the package has some packages have been in the install state only, you have to install them manually. Okay, so try to check whatever the packages that are there inside this one. So the UI apps is in the install state. Just go inside this UI apps and click on install. Okay, so install and now it will install the package. Try to refresh and check. Okay, so now it says UI apps in the install state. So try to install the UI.content as well. Click on install. So try to install all the packages related to your project folder. So AEM guide September, right? So try to install all the packages related to this one. And once you have installed, so again go to the uh, CRXT and try to check whether the project is available or not. Okay, so inside the CRXT or open the sites console. Is that wait. The app title we have given as weekend. So try to search with the weekend name. Okay, so here the weekend is there. Okay, so all the folders should be generated. So we have given as weekend, right? So we have given as weekend, right? So then it will be as a weekend. Try to give a different name so weekend would be already available in your local. Okay, now it says all the files, client file, client libraries, components, I18, OSGI config. So it shows all the files and all the files should be available here. Okay, so once all the files are there, so just go to the site console and check whether the project is available or not. So go to the sites and inside the sites console, weekend sites project is the one which we have generated. So go inside this weekend sites project, US, EN, and try to open this EN page. Inside the EN page, you will have some demo components which are built by the Adobe. Okay. So as you are using the Maven archetype and then AEM template, so these components will be automatically generated by the AEM template which you are using. So these are all the predefined components or which are custom predefined components which are given by the project. So inside here, if you want to create any custom projects as well, so we can create the custom projects. So that's the thing. And then, yeah, so now it opens the page. So if you want to have any images, so if you're having any content here, so just try to drag and drop these things and try to get them. So we'll have an image displayed here. So how it is displaying with the help of predefined image component, which is given by the Maven archetype or AEM template, which we have generated. So it will generate all these commands. So in order to deploy the project, so just use these things. If they are not available, so go to the package manager and check all the modules, all the packages have been in the which are related to your project are in the install state or not. So if they are not in the install state, try to install them. Okay. So you have to remember these three commands and then the way how you have to frame your project command to generate an project. So Maven command to generate an project.